All right, what's up, guys? Back with another one. Let me know if you guys like this content. I don't know. I like watching these types of videos. They just pop up sometimes, and you really get to see a little bit of the criminal element that goes behind some of these people who do these types of things. Right? We're talking about sex crimes, any of that stuff. I particularly like the arrogance that people go into. We could do some of those too. I don't know. I'll just be posting them, and we'll see what you guys like. But I like when people they waive their right to have a lawyer, and then they try and duke it out with the police who do this on the daily, and like it's the funniest thing in the world to me because like they think they can outdo the cops. I don't know, but this one, frat boy convicted of 2 rapes. So let's see what it got.
911 was the answer to the emergency.
This 911 call has never been broadcast before.
Please, your doctor.
We want to warn you, it's disturbing.
Tell me exactly what happened. I didn't pick up my clothes. I said, I want to go back. I want to go back to my friends. And he said, no.
But Abby Honold says it's important for people to hear it.
He just got raped.
Abby is the one who's just been raped.
You raped me.
Do you hate Daniel?
I don't think I have enough words for the disgust that I have for him as a human being.
Abby Honold never thought rape would happen to her.
She's a really beautiful girl, like really young. Damn.
I had great friends. I was living in an apartment that I loved.
What do you mean had? Would they leave you after you got raped? Like what the fuck?
I kind of had it made.
She was a beautiful, popular, and smart junior at the University of Minnesota.
I knew what I wanted to do with my life.
What?
I knew I wanted to teach, and I loved it.
But Abby's life would change forever one chilly morning at a college football tailgate party.
What happened?
I woke up that morning and I went to our football game against Iowa. I started drinking pretty early in the morning.
Buzzing a little, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely drinking, and I don't try to hide that because it's just the truth.
Which doesn't matter. Like, if a girl says no, it means no. It doesn't matter if she's drunk, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I have one story from college I could share because it kind of is a little bit relevant. It was my first year. So I went to Northern Arizona University. It was my first year. We're talking about like 2010, 2011, something like that. I remember there was this one girl, I won't say her name, but she was like one of the smartest kids in my English class. I remember she got like student of the semester or whatever. So like I was a little bit envious because I'm really good at writing, or so I think, you know, and I didn't probably take it as serious as she did, but like I'm one of those kids that if I would have had a little bit more motivation, a little bit more of a disciplinary basis for like, you know, school, I probably could have been like valedictorian or really, really prolific at certain things. So when she got like, you know, the English student of the year, I was just kind of like tight a little bit, but that's how I remembered her. And so I saw her at college and it was like the first day. So you know how college goes, especially when you're living on dorm. And this is NAU, Northern Arizona University. It's not necessarily ASU, which is what Arizona is known for, or U of A, but you know, there's still a party scene on any college campus. But you know, you get there, I think it was like a Thursday and school starts like on a Tuesday or something. But you get there a couple days early, you get moved into your dorms, you get acclimated and all that type of stuff. They were already partying, bro. And I remember seeing her the first night. It was me, my boy Austin, my boy Adrian, and then my boy Brandon. And we were like chilling, just watching everybody walk around. And apparently there was some big party or something like that. But this girl, same girl, was so drunk that she couldn't even walk. And I remember like just seeing like some dude walking her back to her dorm and some shit. And I remember thinking, I was like, damn, like, first of all, college is really like that. And second of all, that's kind of how these situations happen. You know, because if a girl is incoherent and you know, I don't know if she knew the dude or not or whatever, but like that's kind of how stuff can happen like that. And you know, I don't know, to this day, it kind of, I wish I would have like said like, yo, you good? But I didn't really know her like that. You know, I knew of her, but I didn't really know her like that. But you know, that's how this shit happens, bro. But it's like a lot of stuff goes down on college campuses that does not get talked about, and you know, it's very traumatic, very scary, because we're all there to learn, we're all there to better ourselves, and yet still some of the behavior of predatory people is kind of looked over, and all because they're young and it's just the environment, you know. But it's crazy.
And then you meet somebody named Daniel.
Yes.
How?
A friend of mine introduced me to him, and he told me that Daniel was gay and that, you know, he was a big fan of Daniel.
Daniel Drill Mellum was a good-looking 21-year-old senior. He had the reputation of a wealthy fraternity boy who once interned with Minnesota's governor.
I kind of introduced myself to him, and we're all kind of standing around drinking together in a group.
First impression?
Didn't think much. He did start grabbing me at a certain point, but because my friend had told me he was gay, I figured that he was just being a little too drunk and overly friendly.
About 30 minutes later,
First impression of him, this nigga gay as fuck.
Abby says Daniel asked her to help grab some more alcohol from his apartment just across the street.
At first, I kind of resisted and said no a few times. I didn't really know him. But of course, the prospect of going for a few minutes and then coming back didn't seem that dangerous.
Do you kind of feel like you had this kind of a blind trust?
At that point, I had never had any reason to not trust friends of friends, especially in the middle of the day. There weren't any red flags for me.
He raped her in the middle of the day? Jesus Christ.
Abby eventually agrees, and the two head toward Daniel's apartment.
Do you remember the walk?
Not really. I was told that I seemed happy, I was smiling. So I was having a very fun day.
When did the fun turn?
The fun turned for me the minute I walked into Daniel Drumellum's apartment. I would say that's when I immediately knew that there was something wrong.
Like Jekyll and Hyde, different person than you experienced before.
Yes, his personality changed within seconds in the
He
apartment.
went from, yes, queen, to like, yo, like he just, because how do you think somebody's gay? That's what I don't understand. Or you think, how sick would it be if he tells people he's gay to throw them off and then like, just to get women in vulnerable positions? Like, that's some like master manipulator type stuff, man.
He kept calling in the doors to make sure that no one was there.
Like saying, anyone home, like,
You know, and he'd look around and then he'd shut the door, and I felt very uncomfortable with that.
Although her gut was telling her to get out of there, Abby says she didn't want to appear rude, so she reluctantly stayed.
If I was near the door, I didn't really think that there would be a problem.
but there was.
There was.
Abby noticed 2 pre-poured shots sitting on the kitchen counter.
He picked up the shots from the counter and he said, "Let's drink these." I said no. And he started backing me towards the wall with the shot glass in his hand.
The shots were supposedly pure vodka, but police reports reveal neither Abby nor the glasses were tested for any date rape drugs.
You guys take the shots?
I don't remember. That's the one point of my memory that's missing.
Abby blacked out when she came.
Okay, come on. She's a victim clearly, but come on, son. That's the one point you don't remember. Come on,
to
son.
sheer terror. She was pinned down on Daniel's bed, and he was ripping her clothes off.
I had never experienced terror at that level before.
Abby begged and pleaded through tears for Daniel to stop.
He enjoyed that I was upset.
She says she was so desperate, at one point she tried to make a deal with Daniel, claiming she actually offered to perform oral sex. Abby says she felt she was negotiating for her life.
What you felt you had to do to survive is in violation of what any human being should have to feel.
I was hysterical.
But Abby says Daniel wouldn't stop.
Was he violent?
Yes.
Violent does not begin to describe the vicious attack. Abby says Daniel left claw marks all over her body,
Oh,
bit
shit.
large chunks of flesh out of her breasts,
What the
and stuck
fuck?
his fist so far down her mouth, he sliced open part of her tongue.
It's almost like everything is going in slow motion.
Abby
Hey,
says she
yo.
was paralyzed with fear, but she was determined to survive.
He had raped me 2 times at that point, and I had started fighting him.
Finally, Daniel gets mad and lets Abby go. She runs for her life and dials 911.
You raped me.
Do you know his name?
I know him.
You know him?
I know him.
Do you know where he is right now?
Yeah, I think he's still in his apartment.
Probably in his apartment having a smoke and shit. Dirtbag.
I just want to see a doctor.
Abby is rushed to the hospital. The sexual assault nurse on call that day reportedly described Abby's injuries as some of the worst she had seen in her 15 years of service.
This nigga took
but
a
the
bite out
Minneapolis
of her.
police weren't quite convinced it was rape.
The questions that I was being asked were
What?
not respectful, and
Like what?
asking me whether or not I said the word no. I told him over and over again that I was begging with Daniel, that I was pleading for him to let me go, and he told me, well, you didn't say no.
Do you feel like the detective believed you?
No.
Wow. That's disgusting. Wow. And we wonder why things like Me Too existed. They just like in hashtags like just believe women. Like, wow. Who the hell is training some of these police officers, man? Like, or detectives or whatever the fuck. Like, Jesus
He
Christ.
did once.
If you see a woman with a bite out of one of her breasts and hella like claw, like, oh my gosh, bro.
Heard about the injuries.
Police arrest Daniel Drumellum.
Do you feel like the detective believed you?
No. I think that he did once he heard about the injuries.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm just like, come on, bro. But how are you interrogating or asking or whatever they want to call it, debriefing, before you read the case file? Like, come on, man.
Police arrest Daniel Drumellum and charge him with rape. And
Fucking, look at this Jimmy Neutron looking motherfucker, boy. Don't he look like?
No.
Look at it.
I think that he
What
did
is
once
that?
he heard about the injuries.
police arrest Daniel Drumellum and
Jimmy Neutron looking motherfucker, boy. Blast off.
charge him with rape. And then a twist no one saw coming.
Oh, shit.
Before Abby's bite marks heal or the scratch marks fade,
I got a phone call from the detective telling me that they were not going to press charges.
What?
up next, the secretly recorded phone call that changes everything.
That's it.
Oh shit. Bro, this is why women don't get no type of fucking like protection these days.
Abby Honold says Daniel Drumellum laughed the entire time he raped, tortured, and mutilated her
What
body.
the fuck? This nigga was laughing while he was doing it? Like, I'm sorry, bro. If this ever happened to anybody in my family, like... See, this is why it's not always good to... Nah, I'm not even... can't say certain
Is
things.
fear a strong enough word for how you
What is
felt
it?
that
Like
day?
Bernie Mac said, can't say certain things, can't say certain things. Like, nah, bro.
Abby Honold says Daniel
I cannot imagine.
Drumellum laughed the entire time he raped, tortured, and mutilated her body.
Is fear a strong enough word for how you felt that day?
I don't know a strong enough word for what I was experiencing.
The 19-year-old student did everything a rape victim was supposed to do.
Bro, she was 19 and a junior? Damn. Like, we're talking about a pretty smart girl. 19, bro.
Went to the hospital and reported the assault to Minneapolis police. Hours later, Daniel, the wealthy frat boy, is arrested.
You were in pain.
It was excruciating. I'd never had pain like that before.
But just 2 days later, the unthinkable. Police let Daniel go free.
Before my injuries from that event were even healed, they decided that they weren't going to pursue any further action. It just blew my mind.
And you won't believe why. Abby says a detective calls her and says he heard her admit the sex with Daniel was consensual.
Do you go limp?
I did physically fall down to the floor. The things that he was saying to me were horrible and mean.
Like what?
He said that he'd heard me confessing that I was a liar and that I'd made it up. He told me over and over again that he had heard me say the word consensual, and I knew I would have never used that word.
Then Abby remembered a strange phone call she had with Daniel's roommate just hours after she'd been raped.
He said that he was confused, he wanted more information, and I felt really bad for him.
Why?
I couldn't imagine coming home and finding out that my roommate had been arrested for raping someone.
What Abby didn't know is their private call was being secretly recorded by one of Daniel's fraternity brothers.
He raped me a couple times.
And the phone call was a cruel setup.
The person who said the word consensual was on the other end of that phone.
Yes.
He raped me a couple times. And they
like an
Yeah.
interview.
So do you remember having sex with him?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
I remember certain things. It wasn't like a miscommunication kind of thing, I guess.
That's what doesn't really get talked about, like certain things about memory. And it was something I heard. I think I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say it. Every time you remember a memory, you are remembering the most recent time you remembered it, if that makes sense. So every time you're thinking back on something, and it was also being explained too, I think on Joe Rogan podcast, but our brains go into fight or flight mode and a lot of other processes get turned off. So, your cognition, your short-term memory, a lot of that stuff falls to the wayside when you're in fight or flight mode. And so this is why they usually, because I've been in this situation where I saw someone get hit by a car. The person ended up dying. And so there was multiple witnesses, me, my wife, a couple other people. They separated us all. They didn't want us talking to each other. And then they wanted our accounts. But they waited after a certain amount of time because we were waiting for the detectives for, I'm saying, like hours. But then they got everybody's story and they compare the storylines, because if people start congregating and start talking about what they all, because everybody saw it differently, right? If you start going and then everybody's story starts aligning and then the ultimate story starts getting, warped as to what really happened. So like, a lot of people might be thinking like first and foremost, it doesn't matter if she did say yes and all this stuff, it doesn't matter if she's lying her ass off right now. If she said no at any point during that, you have to stop. Like, and if you go past her saying no, that's one of those things where I don't really like any of that type of, I don't even know what you call it, like role play or whatever. Like when a girl tells you no, she really means yeah. Like, nah, nigga, if you say no, no is done. It's over. It's wrap. It's curtains. I'm not setting myself up for nothing. But some of these girls are like, I told you no, but you're just supposed to do it anyway. And it's like, that's rape, bitch. Like, what are you talking about, Like, never, no. So, I don't know. Even if she said no at any point during anything, even if you don't believe nothing she's saying right now, if she said no, then that means no. You know what I'm saying? It's not worth it, my man. It's not worth it. So, like, people are trying to, if you're thinking, how is she, like, losing all these points in her story and all that stuff, like, it happens when you're in flight or flight mode, and up to her point in her life, she had never endured trauma like that. It messes with your mind, and then certain things get left out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's very possible.
I'm trying to say
He forced it.
was violent about it. Yeah, I have a lot of injuries.
It's like an interrogation.
Well, I didn't know.
It is. It really, in hindsight, was an interrogation. I just didn't know I was being interrogated.
And recorded.
Abby clearly tells the roommate she was raped. Then the conversation shockingly turns to Daniel.
I just want to tell you, Dan is a great kid. He's a very smart kid, has a lot going for him. And what he did, obviously, from what he explained, is terrible. But I do want you to think about what the consequences is with him and his future.
The only future they were concerned about was his, not yours.
Yeah.
Patriarchy.
But it was this moment right here that would change everything.
Now, did you guys have consensual sex, or was it?
Yeah.
You did.
That's it. Their version of the story is, you said yes, you answered to the question.
Wait, huh?
Consent.
That's weird. Yeah, that's a little weird.
That's it. Their version of the story is, you said yes, you answered to the question consensual. Your response to that is what?
I did not hear the question the way it was asked. If you listen to the phone call, you can kind of hear that it is mumbled a little bit.
Consensual sex?
I don't remember what the word was that I thought they said. It was either like sexual or like act.
Okay, this is kind of why it seems like she's fucking just blowing smoke out her ass a little bit. Not gonna lie, me listening, watching, and partially, like, not remembering that you guys took a shot, but you remembered the point up until the shot, that sounds a little weird. And then somebody said, do you guys have consensual sex? And then she says, yeah. And then she says she didn't remember the word. Again, it's irrelevant if you guys did start off consensual, But then at any point, if he was, because it could have started off consensual, because she was tipsy, whatever. I don't know how you can have consensual sex with a drunk girl. Let's start there. But like, at any point, if she says no, it's a wrap. It's over.
And so of course I said yes.
And you feel like
Sexual or like actual. I don't remember what the word was that I thought they said. It was either like sexual or like actual. And so of course I said yes.
and you feel like they did that on purpose.
Absolutely. I'm crying about being raped. It doesn't make any sense.
But there was no confusion on the part of the police. That one word raised enough doubt to dismiss Daniel's rape charge.
So at that point, Daniel had just gotten away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Still living his life, gets out of jail, and he's partying.
Yeah.
You see him.
Yeah. I had friends post pictures with him.
Wow.
On Instagram, Snapchat.
Hey, those are not your friends, girl.
I just was disgusted.
But while some cops didn't seem to believe Abby, there was one dogged investigator who realized both Daniel's story and the recording just didn't add up to a willing encounter.
This case was something you had never seen before.
No. This wasn't even a normal campus sexual assault. The violence involved in this was an unnatural.
Cause some of these niggas like that shit, bro. Like some dudes like even with this whole Andrew Tate shit that's happening, the video that of him like slapping up that girl, like whatever they're role playing or whatever. But some people like the violent element in their sex life, you know. So not only was he taking advantage of a girl and then the resisting to it, he wanted to further assert his dominance and like actually bodily harming her, you know what I'm saying? Like, because rape is bodily harm enough, but then he's like biting on her, scratching her, slapping her around. Like, that's just an extra element that excites him, you know what I'm saying? And he raped her multiple times, which is fucking wild, bro. Like, that shows like he was kind of like premeditating this shit to me. Like,
Lieutenant Kevin Randolph was a veteran sex crime investigator for the University of Minnesota.
Brutality.
Yeah, brutality. This is not something that happened consensually under any circumstances.
Lieutenant Randolph says he knew immediately when he read Abby's case file and heard that phone call, Abby had without a doubt been raped by Daniel.
I'm angry at this point because she clearly says twice at the beginning of the phone call, he raped me. And I thought, how can you listen to this and think this is a piece of evidence for the defense?
He says it's called a pretext call, and it's a dirty little trick used to get a confession.
These two guys, who had nothing to do with this incident to begin with, inserted themselves into it and derailed the case against Daniel Dromellum and left Abby Honold with no justice in her case.
Almost as if this may have been sort of scripted.
Exactly.
Still, there was little Lieutenant Randolph could do to help Abby, unless they could find another victim of Daniel Dromellum's.
It's going to be a battle. It's going to be uphill, but it's got to be done. If I let this case go, sorry.
It's okay.
If I let this case go, then none of the other ones matter.
So together, they begin to fight for justice.
You went online, told your story.
I don't know if I'm a dirtbag
Begin
for
to
saying
fight
this.
for justice.
Hold on.
You went online.
I don't know if I'm a dirtbag for saying this, but she's fine, bro. She's a fine sister right here, bro. I'm getting like the Addams Family, whatever the mom from the Addams Family, I'm getting that vibe from her, bro.
Told your story.
Mm-hmm.
Not anonymously.
No.
And you didn't leave his name out.
Nope. I included his full name.
There you go.
Daniel's attorney immediately threatened to
Damn, this nigga look like Daniel Tosh too.
sue Abby, so she took it down. But not before
She threatened to
he
sue.
immediately threatened to sue Abby.
Wow.
And you didn't leave his name out.
Nope. I included his full name.
Daniel's attorney immediately threatened to sue Abby, so she took it down. but not before she got a hit.
The responses were?
Another victim of Daniel's messaged me right after I posted that. I found out that she had only been raped a month before I was.
Oh,
and I knew in that moment that there were more.
Up next, Lieutenant Randolph and Abby finally have the evidence they need to charge Daniel. There's just one problem. Now they can't find him.
She called me and said, he has left the country. We're never going to get him.
Yeah, that's the action of an innocent person. Yo, we got to go on to this next one. Get this nigga.
Abby Hunt.
That shows, you know, because I've been watching a lot of these true crime videos. A lot of these people, they'll snap or something in their mind changes. I don't know. I don't know if it's just like a certain stressors or something. I don't know, whatever. But something changes in their mind and then they just like come out the gate. Wait, are we on number 3? Number 2? Do we already watch number 1?
Yeah.
Am I retarded? We did watch number 1 already. But no, something snaps in their head and then they kind of just go on a rampage.
Abby Hunt says she was...
So something snaps in your head and then you go on a rampage of like, you know, either a murder spree or whatever. And so like the fact that he had a victim that was from a month ago, that kind of like rings true in my little detective mind, you know, my little Sherlock Holmes mind that some was really on, like there has to be more victims.
Violently raped.
Nightmares, flashbacks, panic attacks.
The man accused of attacking her, Daniel Dromellum, says it was consensual, even telling cops it was Abby who asked for rough sex.
People who didn't know me, people who knew him, said horrible, horrible things about me.
What did they say?
They would call me a whore. They would say that I was a liar, that I was crazy, that I was insecure, that I was making it up for attention.
Abby's case becomes a tragic story of she said, he said, until this phone call, secretly recorded by 2 of Daniel's frat brothers, derails it.
Now, did you guys have consensual sex, or was it?
Yeah.
You did.
Mm-hmm. I know there was a local paper here that described the word as consexual, which honestly is really how it sounds.
I didn't even
Sexual.
catch that.
And
Sex, or
Rails it.
now, did you guys have consensual sex, or?
Consensual? Consensual? Let me hear it one more time.
Rails it.
Now, did you guys have consensual sex?
I guess it was, but this is also one of those things, like I used to have psychology class where they would like have something playing and then you wouldn't even know what it was and then they put the word up there and then all of a sudden now you can hear it, you know, but then you might switch the word to another word and then you can hear it as well. So it's like it really is a matter of perspective at that point, which sucks, but yeah, that could have been there.
Until this phone call, secretly recorded by 2 of Daniel's frat brothers, derails it.
Now, did you guys have consensual sex, or was it?
Yeah.
You did.
But then how can you, did you guys have sexual sex? Like, huh? So like, did you guys have sexual, all sex is sexual. What the fuck you talking about, bro? So consensual is the only real, I could see both sides of this.
I know there was a local paper here that described the word as consexual, which honestly is really how it sounds. I definitely did not hear it as consensual.
Abby says she didn't understand the muffled question, but cops hear a clear confession.
So this seems to you like it was scripted, or else somebody told them these are the questions you need to ask, you know, maybe show some sort of concern, but we need to get this out of her.
Yes, which
It's sick.
obviously I had no idea that that was their intention.
Daniel is released from custody. Abby is crushed. Then a stunning revelation. Another female student contacts Abby and says Daniel raped her too.
This man is a cold.
Before you start critiquing as well, 1 in 3 rapes do not get, is it 1 in 3 or 2 in 3? We can look it up right now. I believe it's like 2 in 3 rape. How many unreported? I can't even spell. I think it's something like 1 in 3 don't go, or 2 out of 3. That's sad. Age 12. Unreported crime. Rape is the most underreported crime. 63% of sexual assaults are not reported to police. Only 12% of child sexual abuse is reported to authorities. The prevalence of false reporting is 2 and 10%. It's between 2 and 10%. So 63% are not reported to the police. That's like 6.3 out of 10. 6.3. Can we reduce that fraction? 6.3 out of 10. Sorry, this is my brain. 0.63. Yeah, so 6.3 out of 10 are not reported, which is more than 50%, which is fucking nuts.
Calculated predator.
Correct.
Lieutenant Kevin Randolph and Abby learn there may be even more victims out there.
Numbers of victims that run at least into the double digits.
But tragically, not one of the young women are willing to testify against Drill Mellon.
The information that I was getting was that
Because there's a lot of shame associated in coming forward, even though it has nothing to do with anything that you've done.
terrified. They're all terrified of this guy. He had wealthy parents.
And given the violent nature of what he did, or what he was into, there's an extra added element not to say anything.
He was very well connected.
It appears Daniel will get away with it again.
Bitch nigga.
And then one of the victims changes her mind.
She came into the police department with a friend. The friend had also been sexually assaulted by Daniel Mellon and said, I'd like to make a report, and so would my friend.
You took all 3 of these cases. There were a lot of things that were similar.
Very much so.
And he has victimized these 3 women and likely countless others.
Correct. Yeah, he is a serial rapist. I have no doubt in my mind.
The Hennepin County prosecutors finally agreed to charge Daniel Mellon. But there was just one more problem.
She called me and she was a wreck at the time and said, he has left the country, we're never gonna get him. His social media went down. He had been a very prolific poster on social media prior to that, and it all stopped.
Lieutenant Randolph finally tracks Daniel down halfway around the world.
Daniel Mellon was living in Brisbane, Australia.
And I really did think that he was just going to be gone forever.
But Lieutenant Randolph was determined to get Daniel, no matter how long it took.
At this point, it's late November, early December when we finally get this pulled together. I suspect he's gonna come home for Christmas.
And you were right.
I was right.
Lieutenant Randolph executed the greatest takedown of his career.
We got notified that he had booked tickets for Christmas Eve, December 24th. So I teamed up with the airport police, and when his plane pulled up to the airport, we were riding on the jetway, and as soon as they opened the door, I had 3 uniformed officers with me. We said, everybody take your seats. We walked onto the plane, walked down the aisle to his seat, said, Daniel Mellon, stand up, you're under arrest for sexual assault.
Do you remember the look on his face?
Aired his shit out in front of everybody too. He said, where that rapist nigga at? You. Stand your ass up.
Yeah, just dead shock. Walked out, got on the phone, dialed Abby and said, hey, I've got a Christmas present for you.
Daniel pleaded guilty to 2 felony counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct and was sentenced to 6 years behind bars. His 2 fraternity brothers who secretly recorded that phone call were never charged.
Did you get justice?
I think that in an ideal world, he would have gone to prison for a much longer time, especially considering that he was a serial rapist. But at the end of the day, I know it was the right thing to do. And I know that hopefully speaking out will make a difference for other people.
That's crazy, man. Hey, well, this one's running a little long, so I'm gonna cut it, but Yeah, man, shit happens out here, man. It's crazy. Gotta believe women, you know. It sounds corny or whatever to some people, but it's like the amount of like shame and all that other type. Oh shit, this might be the next video, bro. We're just watching true crime all day. But yeah, man, that shit like there's a lot of stuff that comes with that whole rape shit, bro. And so you gotta believe women, and you gotta like look through. I mean, her story did have a little bit of holes in it because a lot of these people are charismatic. A lot of these people are charming. A lot of these people have a way with people, you know, and that is kind of what galvanizes people towards them. But if a woman says no, it's a no. It's a wrap. Like, it ain't no ifs, ands, buts. And if you are on that type of shit, like, stay away from me and mines, bro. We don't do none of that role playing shit. Like, no, it's like, let me know, yes or no. You know what I mean? And if you say no, it's a dub. It's done. It's over. You know what I'm saying? But 6 years. Hopefully he had to register as a sex offender too, man. All right, well, hey, if you guys want more of this content, please like, share, subscribe, and do all that type of stuff. And we're out. Peace.